What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video in the next episode of the MotoGP 25 career mode for part number 28 today, the French Grand Prix for season 2 of this MotoGP 25 career mode journey. If you missed the last episode, that was uploaded quite a while ago, I must admit. I recommend you go back and check that one out because it was a bit of a turning point for us in the Moto2 World Championship as we took our first race win of the year. As you can see on the current season, we got our first win, and actually only our third win of our career, including all those races back in Moto3. So only 3 wins for us in the career, but our first race victory coming in Moto2 at Jerez after Alberto Arenas crashed out of the lead at turn 4. But we're back for another episode. This time, though, we go to France for the Michelin Grand Prix of France at Le Mans, and we're going to get this session underway with Q2, passing directly into Q2 for a chance to fight for pole position. It's beautiful conditions, 19-degree air temperature, 30-degree track temperature here at Le Mans, and hopefully we can turn this into a positive weekend. It's not one of my particularly favourite tracks, but we'll give it a go nonetheless as we come out of Recordermont and across the line to start our first final lap. It's currently Jake Dixon on provisional pole position after the first runs, and we are coming out for our first run now as we head through the Dunlop curve and up towards the Dunlop chicane. We've got riders coming out of the pits who sort of take my eye a little bit as we just about get through the chicane under the Dunlop bridge, and now we're going to drop all the way down into this difficult right-hander that drops away of La Chapelle, bring it back, drive up the hill towards the museum corner, and we're using Aaron Canet as a little bit of a marker as we head into the S's at the end of the back straight, gaining a couple of bike lengths on the Spaniard as we break for the Chamois Blue S's, and now towards the Garage Blue S's, where Valentino Rossi slid out of the race on the final lap, chasing down Maverick Vinales. But through the S's, no such dramas. We're sticking with Aaron Canet, and we're going to get our first banker lap time on the board into the final corner for the first time. It's very wide. Thankfully, we don't get a track limits warning, even though that was definitely track limits across the line. It's a 1 minute 34.8, and that is about 1.3 seconds off of Jake Dixon's top time. And already I'm kind of thinking, well, where am I going to find 1.3 seconds? Well, we'll have another go of things here. We're up behind Aaron Canet on that speed up bike as we power out of the Dunlop S's, already half a second quicker than our previous lap time, and I think Canet, who's currently second in this session, will be a good marker. But we're a little bit wide at La Chapelle. We're going to bring it back for the late apex as we now move on to the end of the lap, and as you can see, all that time that we had in that first sector is evaporated to only 0.2 of a second as we cross the line. We move up to P16, but only just ahead of Celestino Vietti and then Alonso Lopez in 18th, and I dare say that once we get around the lap, we might be relegated back down to the bottom of this Q2 standings as we go straight on at the first chicane. And as we move on to later on in the session, we're up behind our teammate Diogo Moreira. We made an absolute meal of that chicane, and unfortunately this lap I think has gone out of the window, but it says that we're up on our time. I don't quite believe that after that first chicane. I think the Delta might be having a bit of a glitch, but as we power out of La Chapelle and up towards the museum corner, you can see the distance that Diogo Moreira's put into us, and now we're wide again at the Chamois Blue S's, and it's not been a good lap, this one, so we might have to just back out of it and kind of go for the next one. But we might be able to find a little bit of time through the Garage Blues, through this left-hander, and pick up the throttle, get on the power, spinning up a little bit. No time found, and we're going to just set ourselves up, I think, for another go of things on this very next lap out of Recordermont for the penultimate time up onto the curb, and away we go for our final lap in qualifying here at Le Mans to try and rescue what is currently P18, because Alonso Lopez has jumped up the order to 7th as we come into the Garage Blues in this final sector for the final time. We have got time in our back pocket, only 0.6 of a second, which should be enough to move us up the order, but we lose a little bit of time. Moreira peels off into the pit lane as we head into the double right-handers for the final time, trying to maximise everything. We get a little bit of a spin on the exit, we cross the line, it's 0.4 improvement, and it is not enough to elevate us off the bottom of the timesheets. It's going to be P18 on the grid, and last in Q2 is pole position though for Philippe Salac, with Mario Aggi in second place on the speed up. A good qualifying session for him. Jake Dixon rounds off the front row. Our teammate and championship leader Diogo Moreira is 4th, Ethan Guevara 5th, Colin Vaya rounding out the second row, Lopez Vietti, Ramirez, Bautas completing the top 10, and Aaron Canet was unable to find improvement as well as he dropped down to 11th. There we go, it's race time for round 6 of the Moto2 World Championship from Le Mans. And we've got work to do from 18th on the grid. We've got to go forward here at the French Grand Prix as we get a look at the grid for the first time. A reminder of the grid: Salak, Aji and Dixon is your front row. And here is Philippe Salak on the Mark VDS machine, the poleman for the French Grand Prix. So we are going to be running medium. We're going to be running soft as we do in Moto2 because of that front tyre glitch. Running the soft front, the soft rear, and let's see what we can achieve at I think is going to be a difficult French Grand Prix. There's a look at your front row, and here we are mired down in 18th as the lights go on for the Michelin Grand Prix of France. So we are underway, and it's not a good start. The other guys on that row, Roberts and co, got a bit of a better launch, and now we're being boxed in a little bit, and we're down to P23, but we've found the line on the outside that's going to turn to the inside. We're going to be big and brave on the inside. There's a bit of contact with Joe Roberts there, but nothing too underwater as we come out of the Dunlop chicane, and we're up into P14. So we've managed to gain a couple of places off the start, and we're up into the points and up behind Albert Arenas, but we run a little wide at La Chapelle, and Barry Bautas says thank you very much and cuts on through as we're now relegated to P15, but we're still in the points and still in a position where we can go forward as we head into the museum corner for the first time. A bit of contact there with Barry Bautas, and that allows Senna Agius on the Dynavolt Intact bike to come through. And Agius, the Australian, is now up into the points paying positions as we're going to look to try and hang it round the outside, maybe then switch back and look to the inside, but no way through on the number 81 bike as we do pick up a warning for contact with Barry Bautas at the museum corner, and unfortunately that's our first warning of the morning's race. We're down into the chicane. It's all getting a little bit tight there into the Chemin Albus, and we are through and up into P12. We managed to pick the pocket, find the line and work our way through, and then pick up a position from Albert Arenas on the exit of the corner. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. A lot of riders just coming together and getting tangled up with one another, and we just cut our way through like a hot knife through butter, and we're up into P12 and up behind Aaron Canet and Marcos Ramirez on that Honda Team Major Bike. Two riders who have changed teams for this season. Canet going from Fantic to Speed Up, and Ramirez going from the OnlyFans American Racing Team to the Honda Team Asia Team. But we pick up a couple of places as the weird straight line glitch kicks in for Canet and Ramirez, and we're up into P10, and now we are starting to go forward. Canet gives us a little bit of a boost coming out of the chicane. We needed that because we weren't really driving forward out of that chicane, and again though running wide at La Chapelle, and Canet comes on through, and nice and easy for the Spaniard as he moves back up into P10. We're going to look to try and go the long way round though, and then switch back in the middle of the museum corner, but not quite close enough to carry that momentum as we cut back towards the apex to get back underneath Canet. But we do get the drive, and we will have a look into the Garage Vert, and we do get back into P10. So hanging on for dear life at this moment in time. And as we move on to lap number 4, you can see Canet has lost a couple of places. We go wide, and that's going to allow Marcos Ramirez to come through, and he is up into P10. Canet still hanging on there. He's still in that group. I think he's up behind Holgado on that CF motorbike. So in P14 as we get back to the inside of Ramirez. It was close as we went side by side down the straight, but no way through. We run wide, and Ramirez comes back through on that Honda Team Asia bike. So we've got work to do now, because we've got Albert Arenas, the man who crashed out of the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix last time out. He cuts his way through and up into P11, and we're relegated now down to P12, and we've got Danny Holgado breathing down our neck on that CF Moto Aspar bike. So we need to look forward rather than behind, but there's some fast riders behind with Holgado, Bautas and Canet all there waiting to bounce as we head up towards the Dunlop curve for the 5th time, the start of the 5th lap of the French Grand Prix. Spotting the braking point, closing right into Arenas. We do run a little bit wide, and that will hinder us on the exit of the chicane, and Albert Arenas opening up that gap, stretching a couple of bike lengths on us as we head down into La Chapelle, and again, I think for the 5th lap in a row, we're wide, and that allows Holgado through. We managed to lay it over the nose of Barry Baltus though and just shut the door on him, but Holgado is through and up into P12, but there might be an opportunity to cut back underneath the Spaniard. No way through though. We had to just chop out the throttle, otherwise there would have been contact between the two of us and it might have ended in disaster for both of us, but we do get late on the brakes and down the inside at Garage Vert, and we are fighting with every single ounce of energy that we've got here. We are through on Holgado and back up to P12, but then we're hit with the straight line glitch as Holgado blasts by like we've absolutely stopped. We're trying everything we can to try and get out of that glitch, dropping gears and all sorts, but Holgado, nice and easy, like candy from a baby, is up into P12. And unfortunately, I think that might be all she wrote for that battle, because as we go on to lap number 6, he's opened up nearly a second and we're wide again, and Barry Baltus with a very late chop to the inside, and this time gives us no option to other than sitting up. We couldn't lay it across the nose of him. We had to get out of that one, avoid the contact, and Baltus is through, and now Canet looking to get through as well and pinch 14th from us, but no way through for the Spaniard. He has to back out of that one, and now Seneragius is attacking him, but we've gone wide. We've missed the corner at Garage Vert. We're out into the gravel, and it's a disaster for us as we drop down to P18. We've got to try now and get back into it. The straight line glitch has hindered the two OnlyFans American racing bikes. We're in the grass for some reason as we head into the S's for the 6th time. We've managed to pick up 2 positions, and we're back onto the back of Canet and Agius for that 15th position, but annoying that we lost those points paying positions by a mistake of our own, and we're going to try and get back into them. Canet hanging on to the final point. Every point can be decisive in these championships, so a point wouldn't go amiss in what is a very difficult French Grand Prix for us aboard this Ital Trans bike. I'm not sure where our teammate is. P3, Jake Dixon leads, Philip Salat second, Diogo Moreira, our teammate and championship leader, hanging on for 3rd position in this French Grand Prix. But as we cut onto the final lap of the race, it doesn't look like we're going to be challenging Aaron Canet. We're getting hit up the rear by Zonta van der Geurborg, who got a much better exit out of the S's. I think though we're going to survive for P16. It's not going to be points, and it's going to be a fall back to reality. After victory in the Spanish Grand Prix, it is a fall from grace, and we are hit with reality of how difficult Moto2 is as we cross the line for P16 in the French Grand Prix. A disappointing result, and a bit of an emphasis on how tough Moto2 really is. But it's victory for Jake Dixon, Philip Salash is second, Diogo Moreira rounding out the podium in 3rd, Alonso Lopez 4th, Ethan Guevara finishing in 5th ahead of Colin Vaya. Agi dropped down to 7th in the end with Vietti in 8th, Ramirez 9th, Navarro on the forward bike, a strong 10th for him, Arenas Holgado, and then it was that battle for the final couple of points involving Aaron Canet, Senna Agius and Barry Baltus, who took 13th position. Just missing out on the points was ourselves. We beat Zonta van der Geurborg, Joe Roberts, Tony Arbolino, Adrian Huerta, Sergio Garcia and Dennis Onchu, who's having a very difficult time aboard that VR46 bike all the way down the order. The championship lead though, 27 points in favour of Diogo Moreira, who holds that over Celestino Vietti. We have dropped down to 9th position, and the Ital Trans team continued to lead the way in the team's championship. But there we go, another round done and dusted. It wasn't the easiest round at the French Grand Prix, but we'll try and bounce back next time out. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you with a brand new video very soon.